Hello everybody, Kane here and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one, we are going to talk about a second hero, this time Avril. So, first things first, as you can see, these are the equipments that I am currently using. There are a few nuances which you can change for better or for worse. So first, we're gonna start with the set that I currently have equipped. That is the Clash of Fate set called Arcanist. Hero bonus active ability stun the enemies in the target area for 2 seconds. This is probably one of the more important equipment sets that you can put on her. However, there is a catch. If you are able to keep this hero alive, pretty much, going into the mid tier style of, breakthroughs, formation, gameplay, and not very early, she can actually do a ton of damage and survive. However, if your formation is weak and you cannot really defend her properly, by equipping this, you can actually kill her in the first few seconds into the battle. And even at my own stage, sometimes she actually died instantly and defied drawed out or I lost. And I've even had that versus some buddies that I fought against. It was that sort of RNG. So you have to be aware that this set is high risk, high reward. Aside from that, we have equipment. So we have the Dauntless Staff. Outgoing damage against large units is increased by an additional 10. Large units are heroes as well, so you do more damage to heroes by an additional 10%. So I'm not sure if this particular one actually works on Arcanate, which then would work on heroes, but I kind of assume it is. If it doesn't, then this particular one would be better, or this one, which does more damage with frost abilities. Again, not entirely sure, but if this one is not really that good, then casting abilities faster on Avril would likely be a tad bit better. Aside from that, we have Trinkets. So personally, I kind of like these two trinkets. One of it is Rapid Cast +1. So I kind of want this Rapid Cast level 6. The other abilities pretty much don't really matter. Like they can be level 1, 7, 1, 9, 9, doesn't matter. Well, this one, the Gifted Mage, matters. The others don't really matter that much. Because Avril, with her own abilities, she doesn't do damage. Or any damage that would actually matter. The only damage that she does is Arcanate. So if you unequip Arcanate, she does nothing. So bear in mind, pretty much you want these maxed out. The others are sort of so-so, just, a little bit of damage here and there. Or additional damage here and there. So these, the most important. That is why you don't really require a Drake set, and instead, you can actually equip 2 DPS items, which could actually help you out a lot more. And not only DPS items. So, this one, Rapid Cast +1, and this one, you have a couple of choices. So personally, I face more stall sides, I face more humans, more lich, in some cases even dwarfs now. So deal 20%, rather 25% more damage to melee enemies. For me personally, is quite crucial because she also is killing a ton of those units in terms of stall side and does a ton of damage. So personally, I would take this for her. Again, not sure if Arcanate actually works. Like these buffs, these percentages are getting harder and harder to actually notice and test. Even though I am able to see, I have like high attention to the details in the fights, or like the heals, or which heal is proccing, or stuff like that. Friggin' buffs, they don't always work with a few particular things, and it's friggin' insane to actually be able to know whether 125% will grant you more or another 5% will grant you even more than this. So I kind of assume this 25% actually works. If it doesn't work, There is another trinket which is pretty good on Avril, and it's called Mystic Scroll. Duration affected by crowd control effects reduced by 30%. Basically, if your Avril is stunned 24/7, you cannot cast her. This equipment will end the stuns 20% quicker, which is good because you can actually cast Blizzard in between the stuns that the enemy may cast on you, and you can pretty much just use her and enter invincibility so they don't do damage to you, they don't push you away, they don't CC you as quickly or in their rotation and stuff like that. So you have a couple of choices, and maybe there are more, I'm not yet certain, but pretty much this sort of has been working for me for quite a while. So, artifact. Pretty much Malinoc Codex and nothing else. You require it as high as possible. The two most important ones are 2-star and 3-star. Invulnerability when casting abilities, incredibly important. She dodges any CC, any damage that would go on her with this particular star. 3-star ability cooldown is lowered, you cast abilities quicker, which means you go from invincibility to invincibility quicker or more often if you might so require. And sometimes it kind of saves her from actually dying. You can stun heroes, you can do stuff with her. It's actually pretty friggin' crucial. Now, I know that 4 and 5-star actually like changed a ton of her DPS. Whenever I made it in the earlier versions of the game, it was pretty easy to see the damage difference. However, now I really don't know if with the resistances these two would actually help, right? I mean, essentially, like it says, damage, mana ability damage, whatever. However, without testing on high resistances, it's again incredibly hard to actually provide crucial information whether or not it would help out. I mean, I'd still 5-star it. It's still additional damage, but I have no information whether or not this would raise your damage by a lot. So yeah, I'd still raise it, but if you don't, get an insane damage boost, do write in the comments below whoever upgrades it and fighting like 99% resistance front lines, and I will likely pin your comment just so it might, I don't know, help out a few other people as well. So again, personally, I'd max it out, but I'm not sure if these two are actually really important, so be aware. Because the resistance meta, very few things actually work. Aside from that, we have Prism, Wave Power 10. This is probably the most important thing aside from Hero Mastery, which you kind of require. The reason for that is you get 75% true attack value. So we see 49 million right here. Let's remove this Prism. You see 27, so it's a pretty huge increase of 21 million attack value. And not only this is important, but the hero bonus upon casting ability increases attack by 50% for 15 seconds, can stack. Basically, this particular bonus increases the arcane 8 damage in the hero mastery. Now, it's hard to say because we've tested quite a few other things. Some other things don't actually work in buffing this particular, I suppose, debuff, buff, whichever way you want to call it. So it's actually hard to know which one of these buffs usually do work. From what we know, this actually assists that ability to do more damage. Thus, this is the best Prism to have on Avril if you are equipping her with Arcane 8. So be aware, best array for Avril. Aside from that, that's pretty much it for equipment. Summary, this is my HP, this is my attack. I think tomorrow I'm gonna have like 53, 54 million attack as I'm gonna finish that 10% attack bonus in like literature or whatever it's called. And the attack value increases from that feature are crazy insane. Like, I don't know, I jumped like 20 million by just like upgrading a few books or something. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a crazy boost. Abilities as shown before, you can have level 1 Ice Wall, max out these 3 abilities, and then you can level Glacier Shard. Pretty much at my stage in like mid-tier gameplay or so, basically none of these abilities do damage or are really that useful. Pretty much you really want to use them for like stunning, like Blizzard is also a stun plus Arcanate proc. Ice Wall is a stun with Clash of Fate set. Ice Nova is a stun and procs Arcanate as well. This also procs Arcanate, but to like 5 targets at a time or so, 4 targets at a time, 5 if the next level, not really that useful. And this one, of course, attack speed does help her out, but she's melee range after abilities. She's very likely to die regardless. Now, potential. So as you can see, I have 45 of 70 and I don't go to 50. Typically, you want to have her only 35 out of 70. The reason I made her 45 or so, I wanted to add more attack value for her, as well as I wanted to add more HP on her, so she is able to tank a little bit more damage from, say, like archers, which usually just nearly one-shot her, but as well as deal a little bit more damage as well. Aside from that, potential on her doesn't matter, except for 35, of course, because the magic value does help out, I think, even for the Arcane 8 DPS. I'm not sure entirely, but when I have tried testing it in some PvE events a while back, when there were literally no resistances or not as much, increasing magic attribute with different equipment granted a little bit different and sometimes quite a bit better results. Not by a lot, not by like 5-10 seconds or so, but by 1 or 2 seconds in particular nuances. So it does have some sort of an effect. Like, I'm not sure how huge, how small, but it does have an effect. So I would still make her at the very least 35 potential. 50 potential doesn't matter at all. 70 potential. In this one, you see additional magic damage, stacks. It's incredible. No, it's not. The reason for that is, if you don't test, you might think this is actually incredibly powerful. However, if you test it, this particular thing only works for the magic damage the hero does. And the magic damage is the Glacial Shard, Ice Nova, and Blizzard. With 99 plus resistances, all of these damages get reduced to nothing from Avril, meaning she does nothing. So even with like 70% magic damage from potential, she wouldn't do anything at all. So if this doesn't, buff the Arcane 8, it's not going to buff her DPS. Now again, we tested that multiple times, doesn't really help her out that much. I'm not sure, maybe there was a bug fix, maybe they shadow patched it after this video or some time ago, but we tested this, I think, a couple of months back. I'm not sure on the exact time, and it did not work. So bear in mind, majority of the people picked this one, because quite a few of them also tested. And what this does is, you have like this hailstorm proccing like 30 times, as you can see here, and the width increases by 25%. So you have a big circle where you proc this ability, and then you have small circles in that big circle where the ability procs, and it increases that small circle by 25. Even that is like questionable, because you have to spend a ton of potential potions, and there are a lot more heroes who can actually benefit, like say Tiadrin, potentially Gazul to like 70, perhaps Rose, perhaps Ophidia, perhaps like Talk, perhaps Even Bane I made to 50 because he's a pretty friggin' beast. You have like a large variety of heroes like Tisafin I even have 70, Arian I have 50. This one I kind of would think even 50 would be pretty friggin' decent. Like, I don't know, man, 68 Mira is able to tank half of a field for quite a while. I mean, there are a ton of choices. So bear in mind, Avril probably not the best choice for potential, even if she's one of your strongest heroes. And of course, I have a skin. Now, personally, at this point in time in the game, when I am making the video, because this hero is one of the strongest heroes in the game, I think from early to mid, maybe somewhere crossing the late game stage, she still does a ton of damage, a ton of usefulness. I would highly suggest getting this skin with skin scrolls if you don't have her. Incredibly important, because this 10% actually adds 10%. So if I would not have this skin, my HP would be 43 million or so. My attack would be like friggin' 42, 43 million. Huge value, especially for one of these stronger heroes. Aside from that, as I've showcased before, you want to have Arcane 8 on her. Without Arcane 8, don't even place this hero. God tier useless without it. With Arcane 8, one of the top DPSers on your field, and a lot better than even say Raxi is at this point in time, because I still see quite a few people use that. But aside from that, there is nothing really much to cover. If you're gonna be using a build like this or something similar, make sure that you also have other particular bonuses in terms of doing that. So even though this video doesn't include them, I still have to include the Shadow Leopard set, of course, for mages to do more damage. Of course, you have Reliquary as well. Stele mages do more magic damage. And then you have this one, Giant's Bane, damage dealt to large units, which again are heroes. So that is pretty much what you kind of want to focus on and have and make one hero incredibly overpowered. Again, for me, on my field, I think this is the strongest or second or third strongest hero. I mean, it depends which battle I'm facing, right? She's one of the three. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was useful to you. If it was, do hit that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. As well as, if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. In return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of events, PvP formations, and stuff like that. Well, as I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.